Good day everyone, we are the Group 4 and today we are going to be identifying the unique features of and requirements in composing texts that are useful across disciplines. But before that, let us read our learning objectives. After the presentation, you are expected to identify the unique features, parts, and requirements in writing a literature review and research report, and write a literature review and research report following the process approach to writing. To achieve these, you're expected to do tasks and activities independently, which will help you master the above-mentioned competency. What are the kinds of academic writing? First, we have a book review, literature review, research report, project proposal, and position paper. But today, we are only going to be discussing about literature review and research report. But before that, let us learn what is the importance of academic writings. Academic writing has a purpose. It may provide background information, the result of other people's research, the critique of other people's research, your own research findings, your own ideas based on academic research conducted by others. It may be a combination by a few of these. Regardless of your study discipline, academic writing helps you to build arguments, communicate ideas, and partake in scholarly conversation. It is a skill that you need to master to make the most out of your academic qualification.
Now, let's proceed to literature review. What is a literature review? A literature review is a critical analysis, synthesis, and evaluation of published research on a specific topic. It summarizes, synthesizes, and evaluates existing knowledge, identifying key trends, gaps, and controversies within the field. A well-written literature review outlines the issue, explore possible solutions, and provide recommendations, making them essential for problem solving in both educational and business contexts. It also illuminates how knowledge within a field has evolved, highlighting what is already established, what is generally accepted, what is emerging, what is the current state of thinking on the topic. We have the first unique features of literature review. First, it justifies a research questions, method, or theoretical and conceptual framework. In this part, a theoretical framework is a foundation of research that uses existing theories. Second, it establishes the relevance of the topic. In research report, the relevance of the topic is established by clearly explaining why the chosen research area is important and impactful within the field of study. Third, it provides necessary information to better understand a specific topic or study. It highlights the potential of benefits addressing the research question and demonstrating how the study could contribute to existing knowledge. Fourth, it shows reviewers' familiarity and mastery of the topic. And lastly, it establishes a niche of the study, resolves conflicts among contradictory studies. We have the three components of writing a literature review. First, the introduction, second, the body, and the conclusion. In introduction, it provides context and outlines the purpose and scope of the review. In introduction to the topic, you have to narrow down the specific background research and use phrases to clearly explain how evidence supports your argument. In body, you can start with a quotation, relevant statistic, fun fact, and fascinating story. In body, it also presents the synthesis and analysis of relevant sources, comparing, contrasting, and making arguments based on the literature. In conclusion, it summarizes the main findings, highlights key trends and gaps, and clarifies the contribution of your research. Let's proceed to the 4 key strategies for writing a literature review. We have the summary, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Summary provides a concise overview of the main points of our source. It is a recap of the important information of the source, but a synthesis is a reorganization of reshuffling of that information. It might give a new interpretation of old material or combine new with old interpretations. Or it might trace the intellectual progression of the field, including the major debates. In analysis, it examines the arguments, evidence, and methods used in a source. It critically examining and synthesizing existing research to understand key concepts, identify trends, and justify your research contribution to the field. Next, we have the synthesis. Synthesis combines and connects ideas from multiple sources to create a cohesive argument. Synthesis meaning combining information from multiple sources to create a cohesive and insightful understanding of the topic, rather than just summarizing individual studies. It's about showing how different pieces of research relate to each other and contribute to a larger picture. And lastly, we have the evaluation. Evaluation critically assesses the strengths and weaknesses of the sources, considering their validity, reliability, and significance. It also involves critically assessing the quality of the sources to ensure the views of accuracy and provides a comprehensive understanding of the topic.
Good morning everyone, I'm Jason Hamito from Group 4. Now we're here at the research report. First, research has always been gradually explained to you by your subject teachers. You most likely receive activities or homework at school in which you ask to serve online on concepts related to the topics that you discuss and learn in the class. In this lesson, you will be introduced on how to write a research report. Previously, you learned about writing a literature review. This time, you will be introduced into the writing of research report. Now, what is research report? Research report refers to a document that is systematically, coherently, and methodologically presents the research work in a written form. The research report aims to write clearly and concisely about your research topic so that the reader can easily understand the purpose and result of your research. It is a reliable source to recount the details about a conducted research, and is most often considered to be a true testimony of all the work done to garner the specificities of a research. Now we will proceed to a unique features of a research report. The first unique feature is it is a detailed presentation of a research process and findings, and it usually includes tables and graphs. The meaning of this is a research report provides a comprehensive overview of the research process, including the methods used, the data collected, and the findings. It aims to give the reader a clear understanding of the study. The next feature is it is written in a formal language. The meaning of this feature is the research report uses a precise and objective language. The purpose of it is to avoid bias and ensure clarity. The next feature is a research report is usually written in a third person. The research report are usually written in the third person to maintain the objectivity and focus on the research itself rather than the research or personal opinion. Person to maintain the objectivity and focus on the research itself rather than the research or personal opinion. Is the research report are based on a factual data and evidence that can be verified. This means the information presented is reliable and trustworthy. The next is it is formally structured with headings, section, and bullet points. This means that the research report have a clear and organized structure with headings, sections, and bullet points to enhance the readability and guide the reader through the information. The last but not the least, it is always includes recommendations for future actions. The meaning of this one is the research report often conclude the recommendation for future actions based on the findings. This will help the readers understand the implication of our research and how it can be applied in practices. There are a lot of research format to use, but in this discussion we will focus in the IMRAD format. What is IMRAD format? Research report often use the IMRAD format, where it composes of introduction, methods, results, and discussion. Because it provides a clear, logical structure that allows the readers to easily follow the research process, understanding the context of the study, access the methods used to gather data, see the findings directly, and then interpret the significance of those results in the discussion section, making it easier to navigate and evaluate the research presented. Essentially, it standardizes how scientific information is communicated. The next part is the components of a research report. It composes of a title, abstract, introduction, methodology, results, discussion, and reference. Later in this video, you will learn what is written inside in every component of a research report. The first component is the title. It reflects the content and emphasis of the project described in the report. Similarly, it should be as short as possible, including essential keywords. In title, it should be brief, specific, and informative. It indicates the nature and the scope of your report. Includes keywords so that the work can easily be assessed by electronic methods. The next to title is abstract. It is an overview of a research study and typically 2 to 4 paragraphs in length, containing 200 to 300 words. Think of it as an executive and technical summary that gathers the key elements of the remaining sections into a few sentences. Basically, abstract summarizes the entire study. Abstract comes at the beginning of the paper, provides a very short overview of the entire paper. The next part is the introduction. It provides the key question that the researcher is attempting to answer and a review of any literature that is relevant. In addition, the researcher will provide a rationale of why the research is important and will present a hypothesis that attempts to answer the key question. Lastly, it should contain a summary of the key question following the completion of the research. This means that introduction makes a case for your research. It provides the purpose of the report and provides a background information about the research topic. Review of related literature or RRL is usually included in this section. It describes the problem, situation, and discuss the current state of the research in the field. Introduction reveals a gap or problem in the field. It explains how the present research is a solution to the problem or gap. The next component is the methodology. This is arguably the most important section for two reasons. First, it allows the reader to evaluate the quality of the research. And second, it provides the details by which another research may replicate and validate the findings. Typically, the information in the methodology section is arranged in chronological order, with the most important information on top on each section. In the methodology, it answers the question, what did you do? It tells the readers how you conducted your study. It includes methods used, instrument, population, sampling technique, procedures, and statistical treatment. The methodology should enable the readers to duplicate your study. It is written in past tense and use a lot of passive voice. Typically, the list with section of an IMRAD report. The next component is the result. In longer research papers, the result sections contains the data and perhaps a short introduction. Ideally, the interpretation of the data and the analysis is reserved for the discussion section. In results, it answers the question, what did you find? It presents your findings. Should be directly answered the research question which are imposed in the introductions. Contains only the findings. All tables and figures should be labeled and numbered separately. Discussion. This section is where the results of the study are interpreted and evaluated against the existing body or literature. In addition, should there be anomalies found in the results, this is where the authors point them out. Finally, it is an attempt to connect the results to the bigger picture and show how the results might be applied. While in discussion, it answers the question, what does it mean? Basically, discussion summarizes your main findings. It discusses the relevance of the results and answers the question how the findings fit with other research studies. The last component for today's discussion is the reference. This section provides a list of each author and paper cited in the research report. Any fact, idea, or direct quotation used in the report should be cited and referenced. How do you format a research report? There is no best format for all reports, for a format depends on several relevant variables. You must employ a suitable format to create a desirable impression with clarity. Report must be attractive, while you should write systematically. You must use the format, or often called the structure, that best fits the needs and wants of its reader.